our realm, while on the premium spectrum, there are 3 types of services. So like if you're doing hourly services or hourly at a brick and mortar, then that's the volume game. But on the premium spectrum and the things we're teaching inside the incubator, you could be doing one-time projects, and that could be like over a span of time or in like a VIP day setting. Mm-hmm. Or you could do a retainer project where you have a contract for a set amount of time and certain deliverables you're doing every single month. And ultimately, you can charge whatever the climate will bear, basically. Mm-hmm. Keeping in mind that value is perceived by the person receiving the service.
Right. Well, and what we see too is that a lot of people who have mental roadblocks and mental hesitations about charging premium dip their toe into it with the retainer model, because you can charge less in the retainer model because it's still a little bit of a quantity game, because you have to have that right. The levels have to match of, I am still charging appropriately. I have the capacity to work with this many people, but my contracts are set in stone for this amount of time. So it's more of like you get the people in, and as long as you're refilling the bucket as people leave, then you're going to be golden. But we start to see clients who are like, okay, but now even that feels like too many people. And so I want to okay, maybe I start introducing a premium package, and I'm going to finish this project. It's not ongoing. So I can get a little bit of both. And I personally see the people who are like really enjoying what they're doing and getting that creative itch scratched in different ways is a very small amount of retainers for consistency, and then cash injection for higher packages that end.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a right or wrong with the mix. I think it really goes down to like, where do you feel like you personally are best? If you are so incredible with relationships and you have no problem landing clients, then volume, whether you're doing it on the lower end of the price point or volume in like a retainer model where you're charging a little bit less potentially and working with less clients. We also have people who are charging a lot on a retainer, but they're only working with a couple of clients.
That's possible too.
I think it just depends on where you want to like put your energy. But there are consistencies in terms of like, I see a lot of people over here in the lower price spectrum, and they would have a much harder time jumping. And a lot of people who are in the premium spot that like, that always tends to make sense. But I think more often than not, business to consumer sales in the service industry tend to be more volume, low cost than B2B sales.
Yep.
And I wish I knew why, other than I just think it all comes down to budget.
Businesses have bigger budgets than individual people. I think that's why.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to budgets and just expectations. Like I'm sitting here thinking about, like, we have a pest control company that comes on a quarterly basis. We have a lawn treatment company that comes, I think, on a monthly, every other month, maybe. And it's just one of those things where if you are in that kind of service, and typically B2C, no matter what it is in the, what does your local market bear? And you have much more competition. And so the thing that you can win people out on is your quality of service. Absolutely. Like that is still number one in my opinion. But it's, are you even in the realm of like affordability within your chunk?
Well, like, so for instance, if we looked at the beauty industry, like hair, makeup, esthetician, like skincare, all of that stuff, that market in Kansas City is dramatically different than that market in LA.
Yeah.
In terms of price point. And so I think so much of it is local economy driven and can really be such a
Yeah.
driver for what your price point has to be, quote unquote,
Here's a
versus,
good breakdown also. This
yeah.
says the easiest way to explain this, which is the concept of why B2B can charge more than B2C, is that a B2B transaction often takes more consideration, involves more people, and requires more decision makers. B2B clients often need to prove a return on investment for their purchase. And you don't have to prove that with a B2C typically. Like, did you like it? Did it work? If not, there's someone else right next door who could probably offer something similar, better, worse, whatever. It's got you
But
got to
it's
kind
also
of
like a
trial and error
shorter
that.
time period. Does that make
Mhm.
sense? Like you're like,
Mhm.
did it work today? Like
Right.
was
Like the amount of nail salons I go to try to find the one that I love, I don't care that I'm trying on all of these different ones because I know in my brain I'm going to spend between 5 and $10 of the total price. Like there's not going to be a bigger price difference typically in the salons that I'm going to. Like
yeah, like you can hit a bracket of salon and it's going to be relatively the same everywhere.
mhm, mhm.
Um but it's just so interesting how when you remove the local economy from it,
Yep.
how it automatically changes what people will pay. Like if you can remove that localized market. Now, I will say I don't think everyone should remove the localized market. Like I think there's some people who are trying to compete online that would do they would make so much more money if they focused local.
Agreed. Yep. Yep.
Which is I it's hard to express that cuz like I get the desire, but there's just some types of services where you're going to do so much better serving the people near you.
Mhm.